Hello, hello, hello. Lawai Jockey here. Welcome to another episode of Chocobo Stallion. Yeah, I'm doing another episode. After I said, well, I'm going to play the game for a bit. Well, I did, kind of. As you can see, the game's kind of changed, if you notice. A lot of stuff's happened. I'll talk about that in later on in this episode. So this episode, I think, is going to be important. And if you're going to play this game, this is one you definitely want to watch a couple of times, or you might want to. I don't want to say definitely. You might want to. I'll give you the suggestion. I'm not telling you what to do. You be you, right? As people say. But yeah, this might be an idea to check it out. This is important for the growth and development of your Chocobo, to see how you're going to, get them into races, that kind of thing, and how they are. But that's why I did this episode. I wanted to get that out there. So if you want to start playing this game and trying to figure this all out, especially as a non-native Japanese speaker, or maybe not even knowing any Japanese at all, So hopefully this will help you. But before I start, I got to show you a couple of PPT stuff. First of all, I got to talk about some wild Chocobo notes. And this is important for this episode and for your future gameplay. Number one, when catching Chocobo, either by a pocket station or the in-game oasis and forest, they will be a 1-year-old Chocobo. Okay, so you're not going to capture a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 12-year-old, from what I can tell so far. The only difference, of course, is if it's one of the 4 special new breed Chocobo that you can find while searching the wild for Chocobo. And the reason why they are 1-year-old is the way the game mechanics are. And I think you'll probably figure it out as I go through this episode. Now, number 2, if you capture a Chocobo and it's the 4th week of December in the game, make sure to get Shiroma's message info about the wild Chocobo. It is very important. Doesn't matter if you're using your pocket station or you capture via the oasis and the forest. If it is the 4th week, definitely look at what Shiroma says, because when it goes to January 1, that Chocobo will turn to 2 years old. And you might miss some important information. Actually, you will miss important information. Now, as an example, this is an example of a comment that she'll make. And this can be found in the ranch when you are selecting Chocobo. Like at the beginning, when you saw the video, you probably see it now. Chocobo running around. You can use your little quill, your little feather there, to select a Chocobo, and you get information. And Shiroma's going to talk about the Chocobo in the ranch. And yeah. And this information is very, very important. Excuse me. So what is this all about? Well, Shiroma's messages. Now, Shiroma is a veterinarian, a doctor, a nurse, a caretaker of the Chocobo. And you're going to be talking to her a lot in this game. Now, when it comes to the Chocobo, and when it comes to their age of 1 to 3, Shiroma will make comments about their abilities. Now, those comments can be broken into 7 categories, and I've listed them from A to G. And the categories are early speed, lead ability, long distance stamina, burst speed, sustained speed, determination, guts, adaptability, acceleration. Right. And if you want, you can pause the video, take a screenshot, so you have this for your notes. This is good. This will help you. And also, if you noticed, with that information, I've got at the bottom the bloodline effects. And that's that information I talked about in the last episode regarding the pedigree, stuff that happens that is passed on from, father to son, from grandfather, grandsire, that kind of thing. It mirrors that from A to G, and you can see it at the bottom of that example. With the difference being there's 2 to the right that don't have it, and that is, I believe, temperament and growth rate. But she doesn't talk about those. But she'll talk about the A to the G right there. Yeah, and this is an example from last week. This is, of course, for the breeding, the first generation inheritance, and then you have the pedigree effects. Right, and we talked about that last week. So there is a relation to that. So what is the deal with these comments that she's going to make? Well, let's look at these a little further. First of all, when the Chocobo is 1 year of age, so throughout the whole year while they're 1 year of age, she will talk about the long distance stamina and the burst speed. And it is ranked from 1 to 4, 1 being the best and 4 being the worst. Okay. And this is what she's going to say, and you can see it all there. Now, I'm not going to read it all out. You can pause the video, you can take a screenshot, and get the information. What I'll say, though, is she'll make one comment about each one of those attributes. She won't make 2 or 3 when it comes to a Chocobo. She might, different Chocobo, she might make different comments, obviously. But when it comes to a one Chocobo, she's only going to make one comment about the long-distance stamina and one comment about the burst speed. So you can make note of that. And she's only going to do it during the first year. So remember that. That's very important, right? Now, what about the second year? What does she do? Well, she breaks that down into 2 parts, or the game does anyways. So when the Chocobo is 2, from January to June, that's 6-month time, she will talk about A and D. She'll talk about the early speed lead ability and the sustained speed. And again, she will only say one thing about each one per Chocobo. So she'll say something about the early speed, and then she'll say something about the sustained speed. And so you want to make note of that. However, pen and paper, that's how I did it. It's just easier that way, making note. And I'll talk about that at the end of the video, how I did it. Just to, you could follow that. It might make it easier for you as well. Right. So that's January to June. So you got 6 months in there, right? So now, moving right along, between July to December, when the Chocobo is 2, a 6-month period in there, obviously, she is going to talk about 3 things. First, she's going to talk about the determination and guts. She's going to talk about the adaptability. Those are the first 2, right? Again, pause the video, take a screenshot, make note of that so you have that information. So she's going to talk about that as well. And she's also going to talk about, and I'm going to switch to the last slide here. She's going to talk about acceleration. So G. So E, F, and G. She's talking about those 3 attributes. And again, pause, screenshot, make note, right? Because that is important that you get that information, right? And again, 1 being the best, 4 being the worst. So there you go. So throughout that, from that's 1 till the last week of December, when it's 2 years old, going to 3, that is the information that you're going to get. So there's a couple of notes regarding this. The first one is switching with L1 and R1 button allows you to check all the comments displayed during the week. Right. And she will make a comment, and if I can remember, I'll put it up on screen, where it's a generic one, just something about they're running around and frolicking or something. I'm not sure. That one is just looks like a generic comment. And you can ignore it. I don't think there's anything to it. From what I can tell from the player's guide, they didn't mention it. So she'll make that too. And like I said, if I can remember, I'll show it on the screen, right? But yeah, the best thing to do is if you got a bunch of Chocobo in your ranch and you select one of the Chocobo, then you switch between L1, R1, go back and forth, and eventually she'll make a comment that you can record and make note of. So you have that time in there. You have a whole year when it's 1, and then you have 6 months between July, December, also 6 months, January to June, right? So yeah. Now, that leads me to the second note, of course. You need to check at that specific time because she will not say those messages after that time has passed. So she's not going to say stuff that she said the first year when the Chocobo was 1 year old, when it is 2, right? And she's not going to say anything about when it's 2 years old when it is 1. And she's not going to say anything about July, December information in January to June and vice versa. So yeah, you've got to keep an eye on that. So make note of it. So a bit of managing is needed when you do that, right? So I just want to make note about that. So is there anything else I want to talk about before I finish this short video? Hopefully short. Just some last minute notes. The first one is, if you noticed, the ranch has more space. Yay. Yes, the ranch expanded. I was asked by Shiroma again at the beginning of January the first week, that if I wanted to expand the ranch, it would cost me 2,000 gil, and that's what I did. My advice is, yes, expand it early, because the old space only allowed me to have 7 chocobo. And I did run into a situation where I caught a wild chocobo, and the person that told me about it from the CRA, the Chocobo Racing Association, said, oh, you don't have any room on your ranch. So in the end, I wasn't able to, have that chocobo. So there you go. Yeah, so my advice is keep an eye on that. Make sure that you have one free space so that that when you're catching wild chocobo, for me, my plan of attack was, if the chocobo is in the 70 to 80 range, yeah, I'll consider holding on to it. If it's in the 60 range, I just let it go. I didn't even bother looking at its pedigree or in the sense of where it's from, that kind of thing. I looked at its price, because you will probably catch a lot of chocobo if you go week by week. So I was trying to remember if there's anything else I want to talk about. Well, number 2, almost all the specials. I've got almost all the 4 special chocobo, lineage ones, that is. I have 3 of the 4. I'm only missing wild or mild rusk, or I think that's what it is. Or is it wild rusk? I'm not sure. The transliteration. But yeah, that's the only one I'm missing. I got tiramisu. I think I showed that in a video. And I caught, while doing this stuff with figuring out how to read the chocobo's abilities, I caught Cafe Royale and Truffle. So Truffle is one that you can apparently catch on your pocket station as well, but I seem to have caught it quite easily in games. So if you don't have a pocket station, yeah, you're fine, right? You should be okay. Yeah, so there you have it. Anything else to talk about? Not really, I guess. The only thing I can say is I did catch an 85 gil chocobo. That happened, one of the white ones you see running around. I think if I still kept it. I also got a gray one in there too. And it was 85 gil. And I think in an episode I said the highest it will be is around 80. Well, I guess 85. So I was wrong on that. I don't know if there's anything after that. But to let you know, the maximum I caught was 85 gil. So there you have it. Now, what's up with the next episode? Well, next episode, not sure yet. Probably related to training. I think I'm going to get a couple of messages from the trainer before you start training on your 3-year-old and how it is. And I'm guessing that will be about the growth rate and its personality or its attitude, whatever you want to call that. But I'm not sure yet. So I'll have to discover that first and then let you know how it goes. But yeah, so there you have it. Short one there about Chocobo and Shiroma. And the only other thing I was going to mention, how I did it was I went back and forth with the L button and the R button, 1, 2, 1, 2. And when I got the message, I wrote down, for example, D3 or A4. And, I put it on a piece of paper. I've got baby 1 or feather 1, okay, A3, D4, C2, that kind of thing. And then that way I had A to F by November, which is the time that I'm at the moment here. So there you have it. Yes, next week, like I said, what I was going to do. I just mentioned that earlier. But thank you very, very much for subscribing and watching and commenting and being one of those awesome subscribers that keeps watching me week after week. Thank you. I will have more content in the future on this and on the other stuff that I'm currently doing. Please subscribe if you haven't. It'd be really awesome. Help me out. Help me with this content and encouraging me more to do it. I need the encouragement, you know. That'll be great. More people watching be awesome. And I will see you in the next video.